Hey everyone. Okay, so I have teacher created assessments. That's what my podcast is over. And it's found on page 73 in the Fiore book. Teacher created assessments are exactly what they sound like. They are assessments that are made by the teacher for their students. So it would be made by us for our students. Um, and some teachers use it to just their plates can feel so overwhelmed, and they use it so that they can really assess what they want to assess. Teacher created assessments can fill gaps that standardized tests like overlook or ignore, and offer some flexibility in terms of what teachers consider important information to retain. Because oftentimes in standardized tests, we're tested on things that honestly we didn't really learn about. Like I've walked away from a lot of tests in college and high school and been like, I don't know why that test was so hard. Like I feel like I studied all the wrong things, or like I feel like I didn't even learn about the stuff that was on the test. And that happens a lot with standardized tests, because it is so generalized. And so whenever teachers are actually creating it, they're able to be flexible about what they want to test them on and what they want to gain from the assessment. Like they want to see where their students are in the area of literacy, then they're able to test directly on literacy and get all the questions they want answered. So that is just really awesome because that wouldn't be an option if they were getting the tests out of a workbook, or like if it was a just like a standardized test that the whole like Tennessee has to take, like TCAPS or something. They're able to really get what they need out of it, and they can also look like informal or formal. Um, and they also like standardize, or teachers creating the assessments help teachers to see that creating their assessments helps them to be better teachers, because it means that they are looking for specific learning, and they are looking for reflection on what they taught. They're looking to see if their students got what they thought they would out of it. So by doing that, it makes you a more reflective teacher and a more involved teacher. And testing done while teaching and learning is in progress is known as formative assessment. I know we learned about this a lot, but um, it's what, like, when you're asking questions while you're giving a lesson, and that is a part of teacher created assessment. So, like, that's any kind of assessment, any kind of checking in on where your students are is a teacher created assessment when you've planned it out so that you've chosen what you want to know. But formative assessment provides information about how a teacher can modify her teaching in classroom environment to provide children with greater opportunities to experience success and demonstrate their achievement. And you're really able to do that with teacher created assessments, really able to see where your students are and see what you need to do to get them to where they need to be. There is some hesitation about teacher created assessment, and it usually centers around reliability and validity. And that is just because, like, most standardized tests are based off of a lot of research, a lot of based off a lot of things that they have like researched and seen, like where students are at this age and what's expected of them, and yada yada yada. So that's often the hesitancy, because when you're the one writing it, like it's hard, it's easy to be really biased and subjective, and it's easy to like assess like, oh well, I didn't teach them that, but like, so I'm not going to test them on that, but it might be something that they really do need to know. So that is the hesitancy with it, but because there is a greater risk of that, um, and a greater risk of influencing the scores or outcomes of the teacher's created tests. Because if you're teaching to the test you're making, it's really easy for the students to do really well, but and like that's a good thing, but that doesn't necessarily show what they actually know. Um, so those are the hesitancies. And then I've attached my second video is a link to a video that's just talking about how assessment can help our classroom, and that goes along with the teacher created assessment because we are like writing it. And um, the video is talking about how like assessment should be like teaching like. Our assessment should be able to show us what we need to teach and help us learn what we need to teach. And from that, we can grow. And assessment should add to the students' learning because they're able to see like where they are. I think it's really easy to like walk away from a test and just be like, okay, like I'm done with it. I don't need to remember all those numbers. I don't need to remember those formulas. But if you're teaching in a way that like holds assessment to a certain standard and like they see that they're growing from those assessments and it's not just like regurgitating information, then it's really beneficial to them. So the whole video is just talking about how those teacher created assessments or assessments in general are they should still be learning from those. And I think that's just a really important part that goes along with um, teacher created assessments and assessments in general because we want every opportunity in our classroom to be full of learning and growth and not just something that is just a time filler. Assessments can be really like discouraging to students, so we want to make them like as engaging as possible and really want to gauge their interest and their understanding of the things you've taught them as you assess their knowledge. And we want to like promote like positivity and learning and progress. And we do that through checking in with where they are so that we can know how best to help them. So that's all I've got for you. Thank you guys for listening.